Hi everyone, I'm Jabi. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be here because it has taken a lot of work to get here. This year we're going to be doing some awesome stuff. I have awesome videos lined up for us. I'm excited, I'm inspired. I just want to keep this going. So the reason why I've been offline for a really long time is because I needed some time to just get my magic back. If you know me, you know that everything I do it from the heart. So if my heart is not in it, I'd rather not do it, which is a bad philosophy to live by, but it's true. In the past, whenever I was not okay, I'll still push forward. And what that does is that it lets me rely on really unhealthy habits to kind of cope through a hard process. And I find myself sweeping a lot of things under the rug. And at the end, it's just this explosion and it's really unhealthy for me. So this year I actually decided that I'm going to just feel things, you know what I mean, instead of ignoring them. And I really encourage you guys to do the same. I mean, I've never been an sweep under the rug person. I always try to communicate things through. I always try to plan for the worst. It's just the way that I am, that's how I cope. So whenever I find myself hiding the way that I feel or feeling hurt but not expressing it, it really takes over my body. Like I just lose control or I lose function over certain things, and that at the end is really detrimental to my health. And I'm going to talk about that also because there's something that happened to me last year that was so bad, and it really hurt my heart because of the fact that I kind of knew what was causing it, and then it ended up being so out of control that it affected my day-to-day work life, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I think that'll be the video after this one, but I really hope you guys stick around to watch both of them so that we can, get chatting, get to know each other a bit better. That's my aim for the year, okay? Because I I'm not secretive, but it's really hard for people to navigate my personality. So I mostly just keep everything inward because I really have that fear of being judged unfairly. It has happened so many times, I've lost track. And I think it's also tied to my social anxiety. Like, because it has happened so many times, it has caused me to withdraw most times. So that's basically why I also have some struggles with social anxiety, etc. So today we're actually going to talk about 2020. This year has been a dumpster fire. Basically, I love that expression because I feel like it explains everything so eloquently, and I feel like it's a lot, you know. But one thing that I've noticed is that this year has also, in a way, saved my life. If you know me, you know that I suffer a little bit from anxiety, and I've had battles with insomnia, I've had battles with, self-esteem, and a lot of people don't know that, but it's true because I've had chats with people who don't know me that well, but only know how I present myself, and they'll be like, I would have never guessed that you have self-esteem issues. I'm a walking question mark basically. And I feel like I've done a lot of work on myself in the past few months. And to be honest, had this whole global crisis not happened, I wouldn't have made time for it and I wouldn't have done it. So as bad as the coronavirus has been, it saved my life, you know. And it's hard for me to say that because I feel so sorry about everyone who has died, who has lost a family member, and I've also had family members who were quarantined, and one of them had underlying health issues, so we were collectively just so worried. And I've also had family members this year who are suffering from a great deal of stress, myself included, but they have actually been hospitalized, and it's just been really hard. So basically, it's been a really tough year overall. So what I want to talk about today is how you can still save the year, because I believe you truly can. And I don't want to say that it's a mindset thing, because I used to get annoyed when someone just said to me, in order to make this better, you need to change your mind about it. And I'm just like, And so I feel like these are practical things that you can try. And I think that if you allocate the time to these things, I feel like it can kind of switch your mind around, because this is kind of like the end of September. We still have a week left. I believe in Mondays. I also believe in the first of months. What I mean by that is that I believe that when something starts over, it's really an opportunity for you to do better than how you did before. And really, I saw that change in me this year because from around March, things were really hectic. Basically, they were not paying me when I was working. I had a huge problem coping, and I was just reliant on uppers and then downers when I would go to sleep. And I also had insomnia issues, blah 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 blah. And now it's September. Looking back, I'm like in awe of all the progress that I've made, you know. And it wouldn't have happened had I not taken it a day at a time. FYI, day at a time is also something that annoys me when other people say it. So I understand exactly how it feels. But it's true. You know, yesterday, my biggest goal was to get through the day. That was my biggest goal. And that's something we're going to talk about because I feel like when people have depression, some people don't understand what that entails. Sometimes you're just grateful to get past the day without needing anything to push you out of bed or anything to help you process your feelings. So that's basically what I mean. I feel like these things to think about are mainly targeted at people who struggle with mental health because you guys know that's what my channel is mostly about. And I think that it's something for you to ponder on so that you can, you know, I feel like the first change starts taking place in your mind. I mean, the just waking up in the morning is a decision. I mean, you could easily just go back to bed and not talk to anyone. The first thing that I feel like you can do to recover 2020 is by now you should have looked at the relationships that you keep. I feel like there's nothing than a crisis to let you know who your friends are. If you're still holding on to a friend who's draining you, who doesn't bring in any positive things into your life, and who constantly requires you to help them but they never help you, and we're all guilty of this, myself included. And every time you talk to that particular friend, you just end up feeling worse about yourself and you feel like you're just drained. This is a good year for you to revalue that. What's the point? What's the point? I mean, there's so many things that could have happened to you this year. What's the point in keeping something that doesn't work? I think it's time for renewal in that department. I'm not going to speak much about romantic relationships per se, but I do think that it's important to reevaluate that too. I mean, I've heard so many stories of women, my friends included, where they know that a situation is not good for them, but because they think that they're unique and that that particular situation hasn't happened to anybody else, they feel like they owe it to themselves to actually see it through and to make it work, etc. And I think that's wrong. I think that if you can already see that you're in a lifetime, which is a year, in a lifetime of being miserable with someone, I don't think it will get better than that, you know? And yes, obviously relationships have ups and downs, they have highs, I get it. But I just feel like you should be learning more and more about yourself. If you're not growing as a person in the relationship, instead you're feeling depleted because you keep giving, and it's never enough. Chances are you will have to give up until there's nothing left. Careers. I feel like this year is the perfect year to figure out if you should stay in your career or not. I might be an advocate for people leaving their corporate jobs because of the fact that it was basically a mind numbing, soul sucking place for me to be. And so I would never really advise anyone to do that. But if that's your thing, then that's great. However, if you're going to be stuck in one position doing the same thing every day over and over again and it doesn't bother you, then totally ignore what I'm going to say next. But if it does, this is the time to figure out what you should be spending 8 hours a day on, because it either makes you happy or it inspires you, it wakes up a fire in you, and you can see the difference that you're actually making, or you're just part of a basically like gigantic admin system because of the fact that you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I understand what it means to have a job because you can pay your car, you can pay your flat, or you can pay, you know, all these different things. But at the same time, I feel like if you die today, will they recognize the work that you've done or the part that you played going forward, or would you have made a difference in someone's life? That's how I determine whether a career is worthwhile. So that's my opinion, not anybody else's, but I know plenty of people struggle with career choices based on the fact that they don't want to do something, or based on the fact that they don't want to do the same thing over and over again. So I feel like this is the perfect time for you to determine whether that job is the thing for you. But that's my opinion. And also, this is the perfect time to start a business also, because I just feel like people are just less afraid because they figure that if they can kind of like navigate through the fear of COVID, they could do anything. And then the last thing is mental health and self-worth. Personally, I feel like if there's ever been a time for us as South Africans to focus on mental health, it's this year. I see on Facebook, SADC, which is a South African depression and anxiety group, they've really stepped up. I mean, before, yes, the group was there, but it was just so, in my opinion. And now they have all these Zoom classes that you can take, all these anxiety groups that you can join online. I feel like they've done their absolute best to adapt. They also brought in a lot of experts to help South Africans navigate through this whole COVID thing. They've also started a group for medical professionals. They really, really turned this thing around, you know what I mean? To make it easier for South Africans to adapt to mental health. Mental health is such an important topic that is just so ignored in this country, and I feel like even though I feel like it has gotten a bit of coverage in this year, there's still a lot of those issues that are swept under the rug because the generation just before us is really from that generation where they either sank or they swam. So I feel like it's hard for them to accept that their child or their grandchild is struggling to deal with everyday life, is struggling to deal with, you know, is not finding enjoyment in certain things. You know what I mean? I feel like this year is a good year for people to take responsibility in identifying family members with mental health, but most of all, identifying mental health, practices within yourself so that you can be able to keep going. Because this year is really taxing in terms of the things that we mentioned, like relationships, friendships, career, and things like that. So it takes a toll on your mind if you ignore it. And I think that it can lead to actions of isolation. It can lead to suicide. I mean, the pressure that is faced by a breadwinner right now is so high. So there are those feelings of feeling nothing because of the fact that you can't provide for the family like you used to. That's basically it. I feel like there's just so many things to consider, but those are the things that you can use to turn 2020 around, especially as a South African. I mean, we estimated a much higher death toll rate than what we have, and I think if you have survived this period, if you have survived this whole global pandemic thing as a young person, it's time to pick yourself up and, make some mind adjustments so that you can move forward with success. And because you've already been through the worst, now we're on level 1. I am so pumped. Like, I want to support the local economy as much as I can. These people have been through the most, especially the guys who could only open out level 1. We need to be out there supporting local businesses, especially supporting the new guys who just entered the game of entrepreneurship. That is what we should be doing. And I'm just so excited because I feel like once everything is okay here, we can really go out and spread, just good stuff out there. But one thing, do not allow another person to ruin this year for you. Like, no. Number 2, really decide on what's essential for you. Job security or job passion. That's very important. And number 3, prioritize your mind. Everything flows from it. It flows from your heart, but your mind also. So yeah, those are the 3 things that I think you can do to turn 2020 around. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe. We are growing, fam. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.